Hi, writers. It's so good to see you. This is Ranger, and I'm Tammy. And we were writing letters this weekend. I hope you were too. I loved Mrs. Markel's lesson about letter writing. We sent a letter to my nephew Liam, and I hope he gets it soon. So today, Ranger wanted to tell you a little bit of a story that happened to him. So writers, where we live, right, Ranger, there's lots of snow still. And we were hiking up a mountain, which is okay to do here. And we were gonna ski down it. And Ranger got stuck. He kind of stayed at the top of the mountain. Sometimes Ranger does that, right? And so we were calling and calling for Ranger, and we had to hike all the way back up the mountain. But the funny thing was Ranger got a ride back down the mountain, right? In my husband George's backpack. So you're gonna see a video in 1 minute of Ranger doing that. And then we'll come back and start our writing camp lesson. I hope you laugh at this video the way I did. Today, writers, I added a new post-it to our chart, and we're going to work on revising our writing. And what revising means is that you take your writing from something that's good and you're so proud of to something that's great. And so writers revise all the time and they reread. And so I made some steps to show you that. So look, I added like a big flap to our chart with these steps. And don't worry, we're gonna go over these steps for a couple of days. So I'm gonna share my screen with you so we can look at these steps a little closer. Okay, writers, here's the chart we were just looking at together. And you can see these are the steps we use when we revise. So the first step, number one, is that we reread our writing. We do that every day. We do that when we start writing. We do that when we finish writing. And sometimes when I reread my writing, to help me, I pretend I didn't write it. And I read it like I'm the reader, like I'm the audience instead. And that really helps me to find places I want to revise. Then step two, when I find those places, I stop and I mark them. Maybe I put a star in the writing, maybe I use a little highlighter, maybe I put a little insert caret, or from on the computer, I might even just change the color, the font to red right there so I know. And step three, then I have to decide as a writer what I want to do to revise. I can add more to my writing, I can change my writing, or I can cut things out of my writing. And then step four is once I make my revisions, I reread it again and I think, how does this sound to my reader? So I wanted to show you how I did that. You know, I was writing an informational piece about foster homes and shelters for rescue dogs. And in my piece, I had put a little story about Hoppy and Hoppy's rescue story, his life. And so here it is right here, and I'm going to read it to you. And as I reread it, I thought, oh, you know what? I want to tell my readers more about his foster mother and what I know about her. And so I don't know so much about her, but I know a couple of things, and I wanted to add that to my story. So I reread it, I found that spot, and I added it. So listen to what I did. So I'm going to read this part to you right here, and then on the next slide, you're going to see how I revised it. Hoppy lived in a foster home for 5 months with his siblings before he came to our house. Wendy, Hoppy's foster mother, named all of the puppies after her favorite grown-up TV show called Stranger Things. Hoppy is the name of a character and on that TV show. However, Wendy did have a nickname for Hopper. She called him Wigglebutt. And I thought, I should add more about Wendy, right? So here you go. Can you see it in red? This is what I added. Hopper and Wendy spent time cuddling on the couch with her 2 kids and 6 other dogs. When Hopper learned how to play with kids and dogs, Wendy knew it was time for Hopper to find his forever home. Do you see how I kind of shared what Wendy did as a foster mom to give readers more information and also to share his story? So writers, so when you're writing, you have all these choices now, right? That when you're revising, one way we revise, I'm gonna get our chart, is we can add more, right, to our writing. And I added more information today. In the next couple days, we'll talk about other ways to revise, but right now I can't wait to see what you create today. So happy writing.